The 2026 World Cup is less than 2 weeks away, and with that being said, in today's video, we are going to be ranking every single home kit for the 2026 World Cup. We are going to be ranking all 48 teams. Some of the teams have newly released their kits within the last week, when some of the teams we've already known their kits for the last 4 months. But nonetheless, we'll be ranking every single one. As always, if you've been enjoying all the World Cup content, remember to subscribe to the channel to help me hit 9,000 subscribers. I would really appreciate it. But without further ado, let's get right into this video. As you can see, here are all 48 national teams home kits, and we have the 6 different rankings from trash all the way up to top 5, which are the GOATs. I'm going to be ranking these teams in alphabetical order, and obviously remember to let me know what your ranking is in the comments down below. Starting off with the first nation, we have the Algeria home kit. Honestly, I think this is a pretty nice kit. It looks like it's in an off shade of a white. It's a little bit of an off-white color, but I really like that subtle stripe design going down the front of the shirt, and I also really like the green accents on the kit. I think that really makes this kit. I like the subtle red details as well, and it really ties into the Algerian flag. The Algerian away kit I think is absolutely trash, but their home kit I think is pretty nice, so I'm gonna put it in the nice category. Moving on to the next home kit, we have the World Cup winners, Argentina. Obviously, Argentina won the last World Cup, and in my opinion, I preferred their World Cup jerseys in 2022 compared to these new ones for 2026. Now, I don't think this kit is ugly. Obviously, they've changed up the original Argentinian stripes on the kit, which are usually in that baby blue colorway. But with this jersey, they've gone for a more of a gradient pattern, where the middle of the stripes is still that light blue, but on the edge of the stripes, it kind of has a gradient into a dark blue color. Now, some people may like this, but in my opinion, I prefer the original baby blue stripes. Honestly, I think they could have done a little bit better with this Argentinian kit, so I think I'm gonna have to put it in the mid category. Moving on to the next kit, we have the Australian home kit. Bro, I'm not gonna lie to you, this kit is trash, bro. There's a few things I don't like about this kit. First of all, the collar I absolutely hate, and we have seen Nike use this collar for some of their different kits, having it in the green while the whole kit is in that darker yellow colorway. I think it really stands out, and I don't think it looks that good. But also, the Australian badge is massive. W Australia, I hope they make it as far as possible in the World Cup, but I'm gonna have to put this in meh. I'm sorry to all the Aussies, I'm sorry, but I just can't put them any higher. Moving on to the next jersey, we have the Austrian home kit. I will say this looks like a classic Austrian kit. There's not really much wrong with it, but with that being said, I feel like they haven't really gone out of their way to try and make this kit that nice. I feel like Puma were kind of a little bit lazy with this kit. I feel like they could have done a lot more. They could have had a nice pattern or a design on the body of the kit, but instead they gone for a all white body with the black sleeves. Honestly, I think I'm gonna have to put it in meh. I don't want to be biased because I do like the black and red color, but if I'm looking at the overall design of the kit, it is fairly boring, so I'm gonna put it in meh. Moving on to the next jersey, we have the Belgium home kit. This kit, Hey, I kind of like this kit. I feel like Belgium always have nice kits. I feel like the red, the black, the yellow, it always ties in nicely together. But this year, having that fiery design going throughout the whole body, it clearly tells us that they are the Red Devils. And I like the black around the collar. I like the yellow Adidas stripes. So I think this is a decent kit. I think it's very nice. I love the design throughout the body. I love the Adidas logo being in that yellow golden colorway, and I just think it ties in really nicely together. I think this kit is probably better than Argentina. I think I'm gonna put it in nice, although at the end of the video I might even move it further up. Moving on to the next jersey, we have the Bosnia and Herzegovina home kit. This is the first sponsor we see on this list that is by Kelme, and in my opinion, I think they did a pretty good job with this kit. Now, in recent years, I haven't really been a big fan of the Bosnian home kits because I don't like the look of blue and yellow color combination. I don't think it looks that good. But in this kit, I think they did a really good job. I think the collar is very nice and the cuffs around the sleeves. And I think those small yellow pinstripes looks very nice with the majority blue kit. I like the fact that they didn't have yellow sleeves or a yellow collar or that much yellow, just very subtle yellow designs, which I think makes it look a lot nicer. Honestly, I think I'm gonna have to put this kit in the nice section. I think Kelme did a really good job, and I feel like Bosnia have a very underrated kit for this year. Moving on to the next jersey, we have the Brazilian kit. Absolute classic, all yellow Brazil kit. You can't go wrong. But with that being said, where's the creativity? Where's the nice designs? Yes, obviously the Brazil kit with that green, with that yellow, you can't go wrong. And that's why Brazil kits are always nice. But I feel like the lack of creativity it's really annoying me. I feel like they could have done so much more with this kit. With that being said, all love to Brazil, but I'm gonna have to put them in mid. I just don't think they did enough with this jersey. Moving on to the next country, we have Canada, one of the host countries, and obviously the country that I live in. As you can see, I have bought the Canada away kit, and this kit is fire. You got the dark red and black Canada logo with the red Nike swoosh. You have the black ice with the maple leaves. This kit is incredible. And with their home kit, I do feel like they did some things good. You can see the Canada representation with that big maple leaf in the front. But I'm not really a big fan how half of the jersey is split in a lighter color red and the other half is in a darker red. In my honest opinion, I think Canada could have done a lot more with this kit. So with that being said, I'm gonna have to put them in meh. I'm sorry, Canada, but I'm trying my hardest not to be biased. I think they could have done better. Moving on to the next home kit, we have the Cape Verde home kit. For their first appearance in the World Cup, they have gone with the Capelli sponsor for this kit. And I think they did a decent job. I do think it could have been a lot worse, but they also could have been better. But I still think that they could have done more. I wouldn't go as so far to put it in nice. I think it's a little bit lower than some of these other kits we have in nice. So for that reason, I think it deserves to go in the mid category. It's decent, it's okay, but they could have done better. Moving on to the next jersey, we have the Colombia home kit. I may be a little bit biased, but I love the Colombia kits. I don't know what it is. I love the yellow, I love the blue and the red accents. It just screams tropical vibes to me, and I feel like wearing this jersey in the summer, it's always a vibe. And what I like about this Colombia kit that we haven't seen in some recent Colombia kits is they've added a design throughout the whole body of the kit. As you can see, they have a nice flowery floral design throughout the whole kit in a little bit of a darker yellow color, and I think that gives this kit more points and I think it makes it look a lot nicer. Now Colombia's away kit, that kit I think is a little bit weird, but their home kit, I like it. I think it's nice. I think it's cool. Y'all might disagree, but I think it's a pretty decent kit. Moving on to the next home kit, we have the Croatian home kit. Croatia and their checkers is iconic. It's iconic throughout the history of football. The Croatian checkers is something that you always expect to see on the Croatian jerseys, but this year, I just don't think they did good enough. I prefer the Croatian away kit, the dark blue checkers with the dark blue color. I think it looks a lot better, but their home kit, I'm sorry to Croatian fans, but I think it's trash. W Croatia, but I'm just not a fan of this year's kit. Moving on to the next country, we have Curacao. Curacao have just recently released their home kits, and in my opinion, I think they're pretty cool, guys. This gives such tropical vibes, similar to the Colombia kit. You can see it has that wavy texture on the sleeves, which I think is a very nice touch. Obviously, they have the bright yellow Adidas stripes and they have the Curacao badge. I think it's a pretty nice kit. But Curacao, I think they did a decent job. I'm gonna put it in mid for now, but I think it has the potential to be in nice. It's a pretty decent kit. Moving on to the next jersey, we have the Czech Republic home kit. This is trash. I'm sorry, but I'm not a fan of this Czech Republic home kit. The away kit is fire. If I do an away kit ranking, the away kit is a very, very nice kit, but the home kit, it's a burgundy dark red color. The collar, in my opinion, I'm not a big fan of. And there's no design, no creativity, there's nothing. It's just a boring dark red kit. Guys, there's nothing else to say, but I think it only has to go in trash. I'm not a fan of this kit. Moving on to the next country, we have DR Congo. This kit is fire as fuck, bro. This kit is beautiful. I love this kit. I love the color. I love the design. I like everything about this kit. It's like a fiery design. They have the DR Congo flag in the middle. Obviously, they have their badge. They have the Umbro crest. I like everything about this kit. I'm sorry if some people don't like this kit. This is a very mixed opinion. Some people will love it. Some people will hate it. But I love it. And for me, I'm putting it in a GOAT. We might move it down later, but I absolutely love this kit. Moving on to the next jersey, we have the Ecuador home kit. A blind person could design a better kit than this. Stevie Wonder could design a better kit. At least have some sort of design. Nothing, completely nothing. All it says is marathon with the Ecuador badge. Bro, there's not much else I need to say. This is probably the worst kit in the 2026 World Cup. Moving on to the next country, we have the Egyptian home kit. Honestly, I like this kit. I think Puma did a decent job with this kit. I like how it has the design at the top of the kit, which looks like a pyramid type of trigonometry type of design, but then as you go down the kit, it slowly fades away. I do like that. I think it's a very nice touch, and I also like the black collar as well. If the design continued onto the sleeves and you had some nice black cuffs around the sleeves, I think it would be a nice kit. But with that being said, I am gonna put it in mid. It's still a decent kit, but I don't think it can go higher than that. Moving on to the next kit, we have the Three Lions England's home kit. Is it coming home? With this kit, I honestly don't think it is. Nike could not make a more boring kit. This is the most, other than the Ecuador kit by Marathon, this is the most boring kit in the World Cup. A boring collar and a boring white jersey. Nothing special, nothing creative, nothing new. It's trash. So with that being said, you all know that I love some creativity, but this has absolutely nothing. It's going in the bottom tier. Moving on to the next jersey, we have the France national team home kit. Bro, this is fire. This is fire. I've been hearing so many people online talking about how it looks like these bus seats. I don't see it. I don't see it. I think it has a unique design throughout the kit. I think the collar on this kit is beautiful. A classic retro white collar, absolutely beautiful. It looks similar to the collar that they used on the 2014 World Cup kit, which I actually have right here. I love a plain retro collar like this, but I feel like France have really gone with a retro vibe, and if they win the World Cup in this kit, it could be a future classic. I like this kit a lot. I think I gotta put it in fire. It could be in nice, but we have the nice design, the nice classic collar, the nice golden logo with the badge. I think this is a beautiful kit. But the next kit, the Germany home kit. Woo! Fire! Damn, Germany did the thing with this kit. Obviously, this is referencing one of their kits that they had in the 90s. And I love when teams do this. I love when teams make their new kits as a reference to a kit in the past, to a historic kit. I absolutely love it. And Germany have done that with this kit. And I think the execution from Adidas was spot on. Guys, this is the second GOAT tier kit. I think this is a beautiful kit. It's a more of a plain design, but the classic look of it, I think it's incredible. Moving on to the next jersey, we have the Ghanaian home kit. I like the design. It's a very unique design, and I also love the design of the away kit. I feel like Puma went very unique with this, and I love the black star. Obviously, the Ghanaian representation is all throughout this kit, but I'm not a big fan of the design. I think they could have executed it better, and for me, it kind of looks like a colorful spider web. I wouldn't put it in trash because at least they tried doing a cool design, but I don't think it can go higher than meh for me. Moving on to the next jersey, we have the Haiti home kit. I don't know what type of design they tried to do on the bottom of the kit. I don't know if it's to do with the Haitian revolution or some sort of type of revolution type of design. I don't really know. But what I do know is that they didn't do a good job. And in my opinion, this one probably looks the worst because the dark blue makes it so that you can barely even see the design. This has got to go in trash. I think this is a horrible, horrible kit. Moving on to the next kit, we have the Iran home kit. Honestly, I don't know why there's a cheetah on the kit. That baffles me. I don't know if cheetahs have anything to do with Iran. Maybe I haven't done my research, but I think it's a little bit random. It's a very plain kit. You can see a little bit of print on the shoulders, but other than that, it's all white, and then there's a random cheetah head in the middle of the body. Honestly, I'm not a fan of this kit. I don't think it's trash, but I can't put it higher than meh for sure. Moving on to the next kit, we have the Iraq home kit. Honestly, this is a very, very nice kit, but I will say that the green one, I think is the away kit. That's beautiful. That's probably Iraq's best kit, but this is still a very, very nice kit. Obviously, they have a traditional pattern across the body of the kit that does represent Iraq, and I think it's really nice. I think the collar is amazing. I think the cuffs on the sleeves, it shows you that Jacko added that extra detail that some of these other kits from Puma don't really have. Now, like I mentioned, I think the green kit is nicer than this white kit. I think this one's a little bit plain, but this is still a nice kit. It has to go in the nice category. Moving on to the next jersey, we have the Ivory Coast away kit. Obviously, Les Elephants came out with this crazy, crazy design. It's an all orange kit with a little bit of green, but they have all of these speckles and all these dots all over the kit. It's a unique design. It's cool, but I don't think the execution is there. For me, it's a little bit too much. It's okay. It's a decent kit, but I think it's a little bit too many dots. I'm gonna put it in meh. I'm not the biggest fan. But a kit that I am a big fan of is the Japanese national team home kit. This is beautiful. Do I know what the lines on the front are supposed to be? No, I don't know, but they look good. You can see it has a nice curved design going upwards and also going downwards in the middle of the kit. And obviously you have the Japanese logo right in the middle. And I'm not always the biggest fan of jerseys that have their logo and their badge in the middle of the kit, but I think Japan and Adidas executed it to perfection. This is a nice kit, guys. I love the red accents. I love the white Adidas stripe. And obviously, like I mentioned, I love the design. I think it's fire. I think this is a fire home kit, and Japan always seem to deliver. Moving on to the next kit, we have the Jordan home kit. Honestly, I'm not really the biggest fan. It's very plain. We see that most of the kit is white. Now, it does have some red speckle on both shoulders, some red dots. I don't really know what that's supposed to represent, but I feel like they kind of half-assed this kit. I feel like they could have added more of a design throughout the body of the kit. Maybe they could have done something more with the Jordan logo, maybe something with the flag, maybe something with some monumental buildings that you see in Jordan. But at the end, they just added some red dots on the shoulders. Good luck to Jordan in the World Cup, but with this kit, I can't put it higher than meh. It's okay, but it's nothing special at all. Moving on to the next kit, we have the Mexico home kit. Oh my gosh, Mexico, you go crazy with these kits every single year. Obviously, this is supposed to represent the Aztecs, and bro, every single Mexican home kit is beautiful. This shit is beautiful, bro. This is top. This is top of the top. This is, bro, there you go. Top of the top. This may be my favorite World Cup 2026 jersey. Moving on to the next home kit, we have the Moroccan home kit. Obviously, Puma went with a more traditional design to this home kit. Now, on the whole body of the kit, it is plain. It's just plain red. But around the cuffs on the sleeves and around the collar, you see that traditional Moroccan sort of design, that architectural design, which I think looks really nice. In my opinion, if you had the design that goes throughout the body in the middle of the away kit on the home kit, keep the cuffs around the sleeve, keep the collar, but add that design in the middle of the kit, this is a fire kit. This may be a GOAT tier kit, but as it is, I feel like Puma could have done more. They could have added some more design to the body of the kit, and for that reason, it's decent, but I wouldn't put it as a nice kit. Don't get me wrong, it's not a bad kit, and if you like this kit, fair enough. It is still a decent kit, but I'm gonna put it in mid only for the fact that I feel like Puma could have done more. Moving on to the next jersey, we have the Netherlands home kit. I'm gonna be completely honest. The Netherlands home kit is iconic. That bright orange, it's absolutely iconic, but it's a boring kit. I'm sorry to anyone that's Dutch. I love the Dutch, I love Netherlands, but this kit is a little bit boring. It's the same with Brazil, where it's an iconic kit, the iconic Dutch orange, incredible. But I want to see a little bit more effort put into this. At least have some nice design going throughout the kit. At least have a little bit of background detail, and it doesn't have to be a crazy out there in your face design because it is a very bright kit, but even just a subtle design, maybe a subtle lion in the back of the kit, on the side, on the body, just a subtle line would make this kit so much better in my opinion. I can't put it higher than meh. I can't put it higher than meh. For the amount of effort that was put into this kit, like I said, iconic kit, but they could have done better. Moving on to the next kit, we have the blacked out New Zealand kit. If it's a black kit, it's already getting a high rating from me. I love blacked out kits. It's just something about the subtle nature of it, but also how it stands out at you. Wearing an all black kit, you don't see it very often, but when you do see it and when it's executed well, it can be a top kit. So for the New Zealand black kit, I think this is a fire kit. I love it. I think it's really subtle, but also very unique. So I'm gonna put it in the fire section. Moving on to the next home kit, we have the Norway home kit. Hey, let me just tell you right now, this is a top kit. For anyone that's saying that this is not a good kit, this is absolutely beautiful. So much better than the Norway kits of recent years where they have that big blue stripe going down the center. This is so much better. They have that blue cross that's a little bit off center, but in the blue cross, they have a unique design to it. Now, I'm not really sure what that design is supposed to be. It kind of almost looks like waves or some sort of architecture, but I love it. I think it looks so good. Norway for me, GOAT tier, 100% top of the top. I think this is probably one of the best kits that Norway could have made. Moving on to the next jersey, we have the Panama home kit. Guys, I'm sorry, this is trash. This is trash. It's boring. The collar, I'm not a big fan of. That white panel on the side, I think looks stupid. Yeah, this is trash for me. This is not a good jersey. Moving on to the Paraguay home kit. Guys, this can't only be me, but when I first saw this kit, I thought Atletico Madrid. This literally looks like an Atletico Madrid jersey. You have the red and white stripes. You have the blue accents. This is Atletico Madrid. I think I would probably have to put it in the mid section. I think it could have had nice tier potential, but as it is, I think I'm gonna put it in mid. Moving on to the next home kit, we have the Portugal home kit. One of the favorites to win the World Cup in my opinion, and I do think Puma did a decent job with this kit. Obviously, it's a more plain kit. You see it in that darkish red color, but they added a nice subtle design throughout the whole body of the kit where you see these vertical lines in a sort of zigzag pattern going throughout the whole body in that white color. I think this is very, very nice. It's different to a lot of other recent Portuguese kits that are mostly plain red. This at least has a little bit of design to it, and I love that dark green color accents that we see around the collar. I think it's a nice kit. I think this is probably one of Puma's better kits in this World Cup, so I'm gonna put it in the nice tier. Moving on to the next kit, we have the Qatar home kit. Guys, this kit is beautiful. Obviously, it's in that dark red, almost brown Qatar color that we see on their flag, and we see the white accents, we see the white collar, we see the white Adidas stripes, we see the white on the Qatar badge. But for me, one of my favorite things about this kit is that zigzag pattern going right through the middle. Obviously, it's the same pattern that we see on the Qatar flag, and I feel like this holds a lot of representation, but it also looks good. It's not a plain kit. We see a nice design on it. Obviously, Adidas clearly shows that they thought about this kit. They added a cool design, and I think they executed it pretty well. I feel like a lot of people will automatically dismiss this Qatar kit, but they have a nice design. They have a nice collar, nice cuffs around the sleeves. The white ties in very well with that dark red, almost brown color. So I think this is a fire kit. I like this kit. You could see me wearing this kit. If Qatar make it to the round of 16, I'm buying this kit. Moving on to the next jersey, we have the Saudi Arabia home kit. Honestly, I'm not really a big fan of this kit. Obviously, it is in that dark green color, and I can see the potential, but I feel like they could have done better. Now, the purple in this kit is supposedly to represent lavender fields. To me, honestly, it looks like swords from Minecraft. That's what it looks like in this geometry type of design. A for effort, but I feel like they could have done a lot better. I think this is kind of mid, maybe even in the meh section. Moving on to the next jersey, we have the Scotland home kit. Honestly, this is a decent kit. Obviously, it's in that dark blue color. It has some nice dark design going throughout the body of the kit, but I do really like the white accents. I love the white collar, the white Adidas stripe, obviously the white cuffs around the sleeves. I think that really stands out. I love the look of white on dark colored kits, and for that reason, this is a decent kit. It's okay, it's decent. I'd probably put it in the meh section. Honestly, you know what? We're gonna put it in nice. I think this is a decent kit. It's pretty nice. The badge in the middle looks pretty good, so I think it's nice. Moving on to the next home kit, we have the Senegal home kit. I think their away kit is a lot nicer, a lot more vibrant. This kit, yes, there's a unique design to it as it's supposed to represent some of the buses in Senegal, but I feel like they could have done so much more, and it almost looks like it's inside out. It looks like it's washed out. It looks almost white. It doesn't look like it's completed. I don't know what's wrong with Puma, but I feel like they half-assed some of the kits this year. I feel like they have the designs, but the execution wasn't there. This is a mid kit in my opinion. I think they could have done so much more. Moving on to the next kit, we have the South Africa home kit. For me, I think the away kit is much nicer. I love the South Africa away kit. That dark green with the nice stripes with the design, that's a beautiful kit. But this home kit, I'm not really a big fan of it. I think I'm gonna have to put it in the meh. It's not bad, but it's not really for me. Moving on to the next home kit, we have the South Korea home kit. Woo! This is beautiful, and I will tell you, South Korea's lineup of kits, their home kit and their away kit, fantastic. Honestly, I think this is our last GOAT tier. I think this definitely deserves to be in the GOAT section. Moving on to the next kit, we have the Spain home kit. It's okay, it's decent. The dark sleeves are nice, but I'm not really a fan of those lines, those dotted lines going down the kit. I feel like they could have done more. I'm not a big fan of this kit. Spain could win the World Cup, but I think the execution on this kit was a little bit lazy. I think this is a mid kit, not the biggest fan in my opinion. Moving on to the next home kit, we have the Sweden home kit. This kit is horrible. This kit is horrible. First of all, no disrespect to Sweden, but they shouldn't be in this World Cup because the only way they're in here is because of the Nations League. Bullshit. But their kit confirms it even more. This kit, I don't want to see it in the World Cup. Bro, what is wrong with the shoulders? You see that blue shoulder and then it just stops and it's back to yellow. Why would you not continue the blue across the whole sleeve? Why does it only cover part of the shoulder and then it stops and the rest of it's yellow? It looks like a volleyball. If there was a level below trash, I would put it there, but it can definitely go nowhere else other than trash. Moving on to the next home kit, we have the Switzerland national team home kit. Honestly, Switzerland, they always have a red kit. it's a little bit boring. I feel like Puma, once again, they could have done a unique design, and we have seen some unique designs on the Switzerland jerseys in recent years, but this one's just boring. It's better than the away kit. The away kit is an eyesore. That is horrible. But this one is still not the best. Honestly, they could have done a lot more with it. I'm going to put it in the meh section. Moving on to the next kit, we have the Tunisia home kit. Tunisia and Kappa just recently released their home kit, and I'm a big fan of them. I think if you look at their home and their away kit, they're very unique designs. Now, the body is pretty plain, but on the shoulders and on the sleeves and kind of threading into the body, they have this nice feathery design, and I think it's really unique. I'd probably put the Tunisian home kit in the mid section, but I do think the away kit is definitely higher on the ranking. Moving on to the next kit, we have the Turkey home kit. Nike keeps doing Turkey dirty. Like, how many years is it where they just had such boring kits where there's the stripe across the front, the Turkey flag in the middle, and the Nike logo, and that's it. I get the idea that they were trying to do with the design, but it just doesn't look good. For me, this is a meh kit at best. Moving on to the next jersey, we have the Uruguay home kit. This is a nice kit, and I don't know if it's just because I love a light blue color. Obviously, you can see my whole room. The jersey I'm wearing right now, I love blue, but I think that Nike did a very good job with this Uruguay kit. And once again, it has that classic retro style collar similar to the France kit, which I'm a big fan of. Usually I reserve all the top 10 spots for jerseys that have really nice design, some nice creativity, and this doesn't. But with how good the colors look together, I have to put it in the fire category. Moving on to the next kit, we have the American home kit. Obviously, this jersey is supposed to represent the Star Spangled Banner. We can see all the stripes going through it in that wavy sort of flag looking fashion, but to me it looks like a candy cane. It looks like Colgate toothpaste. It doesn't really look like a football kit. I'm sorry to USA, but this is meh at best. It maybe mid. Some people might like it, but and finally, the last kit is the Uzbekistan home kit. Honestly, guys, I don't know what the sponsor is. I have no idea. It looks like a little cursive letter. I have no idea, but the kit itself is plain, it's boring, and it's kind of trash. Hopefully Uzbekistan can have a nice run in the World Cup, but this jersey is bottom tier for me. And that is the end of this video where I ranked every single World Cup home kit for the 2026 World Cup. If you guys agree with this ranking, remember to leave a comment down below. But if you disagree and you think I'm completely stupid, remember to leave your World Cup jersey ranking in the comments down below. And as always, if you enjoyed this video, remember to leave a like, comment, subscribe, all that good stuff, and stay tuned for more videos.